Yes guys, what's going on? I hope you're all doing well today. Whoever's watching this, thank you for coming along. Thank you for coming to join me again on another Come Drive with me. I think past 40 episodes now. So yeah, I've been going for over a month. It's quite cool. Like, I can kind of say I'm getting into YouTube now. Not that I'm getting the views for it, but hey, you got to learn. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, enough jibber jabber. I wanted to get back into the Champions League really. I think being an Arsenal fan, there's only one thing on my mind at the moment. Like, I was sitting at work, just my last hour of work, but just sitting there fidgeting going, get me out of here, I want to go watch the game. Like, I couldn't sit still without thinking about all the possibilities in this game and what it means. And like, someone asked me at work, like, oh, what's your feelings for tonight? Like, gonna get slapped? I was like, I'm apprehensive to say that I'm actually a bit quietly confident, but I don't want to put it out there because I just feel like it'll just get laughed at. Like, if I say, oh yeah, no, I feel alright actually, like I think we might get a result against them, it's like, who do you think you are? You're Arsenal. Like, someone literally said, when's the last time we've actually beaten someone in the quarterfinals? It's like, yeah, not fair enough. I can't say anything. And even like going off of last season with Bayern Munich, obviously we didn't perform well there. Like, we kind of shut the bed really with Bayern Munich. We choked then, and if you're going off evidence, we're probably not going to go through. But that's boring being like that as a fan. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, no, we're going to get battered here. That's not my attitude towards the game, I think. But yeah, I don't want to go just all like, oh yeah, this and that, like opinion. I want to actually pull out some key battles I think we can expect to see in tonight's game and going forward for the second leg, and why I have a bit of confidence about Arsenal, and it's not just all faith in the club. And there is some logic behind it. It's not just blind faith, you know. So I think the key aspects are Madrid aren't at 100% like capacity and availability. So there we go, that's better. Arsenal have just got their key man back, and the form of both teams is a bit indifferent. So we'll break it down piece by piece. I think I want to get into the player battles as well, some key battles I think we can see in the game. I know I touched on it in my Champions League preview, but I want to go more in depth and look at specific players and what areas of the pitch we need to be careful of, what areas of the pitch Madrid might want to be wary of us in. Yeah, I think we'll get into it. So I wanted to start with just in general talking about a bit of form. I think form kind of goes out the window for Real Madrid in terms of the Champions League, because even if they could be fourth in the league, or what, which is bad for them obviously, like, but they could, you know what I mean, they could be fourth, fifth, sixth in their league and they could still win the Champions League. That's just the history of the club. It's like Liverpool in England, or like it's been like Chelsea in England. Whenever Chelsea have won it, they haven't won the league in the same year. But Real Madrid are just capable of pulling out results in Champions League. You've seen it in like the last minute against Manchester City in those years. I remember watching that game and just like, what is going on? How have they managed to somehow turn this tie on its head from seemingly nowhere? I think City were 2 goals up at the Bernabeu on aggregate, and all of a sudden they were 1 goal down at extra time. It was like, what? So Madrid are just capable of doing that, and that's something that obviously we have to be very wary of and very scared of, that they can just turn it on out of nowhere. But if you do look at the form, they didn't do well in the group stage of the Champions League. They've just come off a loss against Valencia, with Vinicius Junior missing a penalty. So they're not going to be completely at it, if you think about it in that sense. Like, it's not like they're like Manchester City, or they're like when they were on win 30 in the row or whatever it was. Like, they have shown some cracks this season. and they haven't been unbeatable. When I think we look at the Liverpool game at Anfield, I think we have to copy that sort of template, that intensity and the atmosphere that they created there. I think the fans have a massive role tonight at the Emirates. I think that we need to have a carbon copy of that Liverpool performance, basically. Solid in defence. They gave Real Madrid absolutely nothing defensively. They didn't give them any encouragement at all. They shut them out early. Conor Bradley was exceptional that night. So was Van Dijk and Gravenberch. Like, you have to. That's what we have to do. Our defenders have to be on it. They have to be aggressive, and you can't give this Madrid team time and space. And obviously that's hard, that's easier said than done, but it's doable, and they showed it in that game, Liverpool. So we need to copy that tactic really, and try and implement it as best we can. Because the makeup of our teams they can be quite similar if you think about it. You know, obviously both right-sided heavy with the players we have on the right side. Both playing almost two high eights. Both relying on a holding mid, keeping it together. Like, there are similarities between our games, so there's definitely something in it for us taking trying to mirror Liverpool's tactics and performance against Real Madrid. I think we're gonna have to have. Yeah, so we'll get into the players now. Key battles that we're going to have to keep an eye on. I think tonight, at home at the Emirates, Madrid will be looking to Ferland Mendy, basically saying, look, you've got to keep it tight on that left back position with Saka there. And I think that's quite key, because you've got Vinicius Junior on that left hand side. Like, he's not going to be coming back helping him out that much. So if we can get Odegaard to kind of shuffle over to that right hand side a bit, and Saka to hug that touchline, you could get some joy out of it. Now, it depends how adventurous we want to go, because if we want to throw forward Timber at times, knowing that Vinicius probably isn't going to track back, which he doesn't normally do, then you have potential to create an overload on that right hand side. And it's something that we did time and time again last season, and it would not surprise me if we tried to do it again. How effective it will be remains to be seen, because you could obviously argue that Madrid might play like a Camavinga, who will shuffle over to help out on the the left-hand side position. And on the flip side of it, if we do release Timber forward to overload that side, there's a risk that you're leaving yourself 3-on-3 at the back, or 2-on-3, or 2-on-2 with like Mbappe and Vinicius against Kivior and Saliba. If it had been Gabriel and Saliba, I'd have a lot more confidence in doing that, and I wouldn't mind doing it. And then you'd have like Lewis Skelly and Partey sitting in front of them two, creating almost like a little box. But it's not Gabriel, it is Kivior. So while we all want to back Kivior, you always have to protect him. You can't put him in the situations that you would put Gabriel in, because he's not the same player. You know, you have to cater to who you have available. So if that means you go a bit more defensive and you have Timber sit back a bit more, then you let Skelly go forward a bit more, maybe on that side, then so be it, you know. Because what we can't have is what we had last season against Bayern Munich, where we're very naive, we let the atmosphere get the better of our team. And I can remember that Sane run like it was yesterday. Picked up the ball basically on the halfway line and just drove through the centre of our team into the box, and obviously won a penalty. So we can't be as naive as that, and that came from a counter-attack that got that penalty. So we need to be sensible on the ball and protect our left side. That's the area that worries me. I think Martinelli will play. I think he has the legs. I think he has the energy for that left-hand side. He'll help Lewis Skelly with defensively trying to get back and covering Rodrigo, and he's actually looked very good since he's come back from international break. He looks sharp. He looks like he's got his confidence up. He looks Brazilian again. So it'll be interesting to see the battle that goes on between Rodrigo and Martinelli on that side of the pitch, because obviously Rodrigo's a hard working player as well. You're going to have Valverde and Rodrigo on one side against Martinelli and Luis Skelly. So it's going to be a massive test for Luis Skelly, up against one of the best right wingers in the world. He doesn't get spoken about enough. He's probably, I think he's 4th behind Saka, Salah and Jamal, but that's still saying something. Quickly, I just want to mention Saka. He's just had a pre-match press conference, and basically in that, the reporters asked him, so how far do you think you're off Mbappe and Vinicius Junior's level? And Saka's basically gone, look, I don't want to be talking about these guys' levels being levels above me, because I don't see them as being levels above me. That's not the mentality I have. And I understand why he said it, and to be honest, I'm obviously going to be biased being an Arsenal fan. I don't wholly disagree with it. I think he is capable of producing the numbers that these guys produce. I think Vinicius gets overrated at times. I'm going to say all this and then he's going to go and bag a hat-trick in these 2 games or whatever, but I just think Vinicius is a bit overrated personally. I think you're looking at, he's potentially supposed to be replacing Neymar, really, filling those shoes. He doesn't even lace Neymar's boots for me. I think you should just look at the Brazil record. Like, I think Vinicius got 5 or 6 goals for Brazil. He just can't shoulder the burden of a team. And that's what Saka has had to put up stats and numbers comparable with Vinicius Junior at a far worse team. Yeah, a far worse team, I would say. The amount of world class that Madrid have, yeah. And in a far more tough, in a more difficult league, where the drop between, the spread of teams and difficulty is much greater. Sorry, let me get my words out. The spread of difficulty in teams in the league is more consistent than it is in La Liga. La Liga, if you had 17th placed La Liga against 17th placed Premier League, I think Premier League wins. But I think that maybe Barcelona beat most teams in the Premier League, but the point is that group between whatever 18, take out the 3 promoted sides in the Premier League, and they wouldn't beat every side in the bottom half of La Liga, but they might do. I think they have a much better chance to. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I just wanted to say that was fair enough for Saka to say. I can see him probably getting some hate for saying it, but that's just people who don't understand football, really. Mbappe, I would say he's the one guy I look at and I go, you could just be the best player in the world for the next 5 years. If you wanted to be, you could be, because he has that ability. I rate him so highly, Mbappe, and it's quite annoying that he hasn't quite produced as of yet at club level. He's doing it for Madrid now slowly. He's started slow, but he's kicking on now, and I just think it's a matter of time before he wins a Ballon d'Or. And he has to kick on now. I think he's got his move. He's in the main stage. He's in the spotlight. He needs to start producing on the big stage, and he has started to do that. So that's one where I go, maybe Saka's not quite. Maybe he's not got the ceiling that Mbappe's got. Do I think Saka can win a Ballon d'Or? Yes. He's still young. He's like, oh God, he's got to be like 22 maybe. It's crazy how young Saka is. He might be 23 now, but he's still got 6 years, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, how many years in which he could win a Ballon d'Or. But obviously for that he needs Arsenal to be competing for titles. Anyway, I've got sidetracked in that. Back to what I was talking about in the battles. So Arsenal's left-hand side and we have just right-hand side. I think it's going to be an interesting battle. If anything, it's more of the industrial battle that I call that. So it's more like both industrial sides of the team. It's the less sexy side of the team. it's more got the legs, and I'm being very harsh on Rodrigo and stuff here, but it's also credit to them that these are the guys that have the endurance, they have the engine in them, they do the hard yards, these guys. And it's the same on Arsenal side in terms of Martinelli, Lewis Skelly. Maybe you say Lewis Skelly's more luxury, but he does do the hard yards, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he handles the occasion, Lewis Skelly. I think Arteta has no other choice but to play him. There's no Calafiori. I would be amazed if he put Timber at left back and White at right back in like the first game he's done it in months. I'd be very shocked. I think if White comes in, it's Kivior who drops out and Timber goes centre back. But again, I think he's just going to go with what he's been doing. Arteta does that typically, where he'll try something out and just keep doing it, even if it doesn't work. But to be fair, it hasn't been a shambles played this way. We'll learn a lot about Lewis Skelly's character in this game. Hopefully he gets through it unscathed, and he puts in a good performance against Rodrigo. It's going to be a massive test. That's one area that does make me a bit nervous, though. I think other battles you're going to potentially see. Obviously, we can't not talk about Vinicius Jr. against Timber. I've just kind of gone in on Vinicius Jr. Don't get me wrong, I still think he's a world-class player. I just don't think he's of the nature and of the ilk of previous left wingers we've seen in the world. Like, if Vinicius had played 10 years ago, he wouldn't be in a Ballon d'Or conversation, is what I'm trying to say. He probably still would have been a top 10 left winger in the world, but he wouldn't be the top 1 or 2. Like, it just wouldn't be. But anywho, he's obviously up against Jurrien Timber. Well, we think he'll be up against Jurrien Timber, and I think that's a very interesting matchup. Both pacey. Timber's got that physicality, and he does like to almost wind up his wingers a lot of the time. Timber, he's a bit of a shithouse in that way. So I can see him doing really well against Vinicius Jr. and getting under his skin a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Vinicius get a booking tonight. I can just see it. I can see him getting frustrated, and I can see Timber having a very good game against him. And then we're looking at our centre halves, Kivior and Saliba up against Mbappe. Now, if I'm Mbappe, I look at those two and I'm staying clear of Saliba, because there's no point in having the foot race against Saliba, because he probably would blitz him, but it's not the ideal one you want to go up against, you know. Arsenal tried to ban Mark Isak in the Newcastle game at home with Saliba, and it didn't quite work. So I'd be curious to see if they try it again with Mbappe. Whether or not that would work, I don't know. I wouldn't risk it, because Madrid have very smart players in their team, and you'll probably see like a Bellingham taking up Mbappe positions then if we did try that. Yeah, but if I'm Mbappe, I put it on to Kivior. I'm trying to drag him out of position. I'm doing everything I can basically against him, which would make it an interesting dynamic, considering Kivior does play on our left-hand side, and normally you would see Mbappe and Vinicius on that same side. So it might give Vinicius a bit more space, or it could isolate him. It goes one of two ways, I think. In terms of battles that we're looking at Saka against Ferland Mendy. Could be a massive battle. I think he's been declared fit for the game. Courtois is obviously back as well, just a little heads up for our Arsenal fans not clued in. He has been declared fit as well. And Ferland Mendy gives me flashbacks to like a Wendell at Porto in regards to the way he plays, and I think that's why it not worries me, but it concerns me, and I hope Saka's learned from the experience against Porto, because against Porto Saka did not have a good game. No matter what we're going to say, across two legs he did not have a good game. He got locked up by Wendell because he was physically stronger than him, and he was aggressive in the challenge, and Saka has typically struggled against players who are aggressive in the challenge against him. I look at Mark Cucurella. He normally struggles against Cucurella because Cucurella is very front-footed and gets his foot in early. So I'll be interested to see how much he's learned from the Porto game. I hope he has. I think he has. So we'll find out how good Saka is as well. Obviously, we all, us Arsenal fans, maybe even England fans now, rate him so highly, and we'll find out at the level exactly tonight. I have full confidence that he'll perform. I have full confidence Saka will perform at a high level tonight. I can see him giving Furlong a bit of a run around, to be honest. And like I said, I have full confidence in my boy. Obviously, we've got to speak about Mikel Merino up front, up against Asensio and Rudiger most likely. I think Rudiger is also fit. You guys, I really like Asensio at the back. I've not obviously watched every single game of him, but when I have seen him play, he just looks like a really composed figure, and I think we can't give him too much time on the ball if we're going to play a high line, because I've seen him clip that ball over to Mbappe time and time again now, and it's a dangerous ball in behind. So we've got to be careful of that. If I'm Merino, similar to Mbappe, I'm steering clear of Rudiger. I'm not going near him, because Mikel Merino's up there for his physicality. Rudiger is arguably the most physical defender. Probably, he might have been more physical than Van Dijk, but he's definitely up there as the most physical defender in the world, basically. So I would stay well clear of him, and I would be pulling on to Asensio for crosses in particular. He's not blessed with pace, Merino, so he's not going to go and blitz past players. But in terms of link-up play and heading and crossing and everything that requires 1 to 2 touch, I'm putting onto Asensio for, because he's got a similar build in terms of his physicality. He's got the experience over him, so he has to use that knowledge and just basically bully him a little bit if he can. I think the midfield battle is going to be fascinating. Who Real Madrid play in their midfield will be interesting. If Modric starts, I'm not sure. I'd love to see him play. I love Luka Modric, but I don't know if he will play. Camavinga, rate highly. Obviously Bellingham will play, so I think you're going to see Bellingham. It'd be interesting to see how close Rice sticks to Bellingham. Obviously compatriots at country national level, so I think that midfield battle is where the game's going to be won and lost. And with the players we have the capability to grab that midfield as well. We can do it, especially if we have like a Lewis Skelly hopping into midfield to try and control the game a bit more, get the tempo going. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how Odegaard handles himself this game as well. I think we need to see a good performance from him. He's been a bit off it this season at times, but this is the moment where he has to take his opportunity and really get a hold of the game. He's been a passenger in too many games now, and we need him to lead by example in this game, and not just as getting the crowd going. He needs to lead by example of his quality, because he has the quality to run this game, and he should be doing it against his old side. I'm gonna have to cut the video there, unfortunately, because I need to hop out the car and go shopping. But yes, hopefully you guys enjoy the game. I am nervous but looking forward to it. Let me know what you thought of the battles I'm looking forward to. Any points you think I've missed. I probably have missed 1 or 2 just because I've had to rush this at the end. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Subscribe down below if you're enjoying the channel. Hopefully you are, and I will catch you next one. Peace.